What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including WWE ending the brand split, bad news for Jade Cargill, Goldberg's son wants to enter the ring, the Hardy Boys are free agents, a WWE star requires stitches, a wrestling veteran wants to win the world title, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. And now let's do the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at WWE ending the brand split. Our top story today takes a look at the latest on the status of the modern day WWE brand split. In recent months, WWE have loosely adhered to the brand split. This has received criticism from a selection of the fan base, as not adhering to a brand split makes the idea of a brand split, well, completely pointless. But with that being said, it looks like the trend of merging the brands without much meaning is going to continue, as Brian Alvarez from the Wrestling Observer is reporting that this will continue through WrestleMania 41. He mentioned, expect a very loose adherence to the draft from now through WrestleMania. Lots of all hands on deck shows, especially with things like Saturday night's main event and the move to Netflix, plus Rumble builds, etc. The brand split being relaxed during Survivor Series season is understandable, yet WWE have ignored it to such an extent that it's virtually a given that wrestlers are going to show up on the rival show. At first, when this was happening, it looked like it was going to be building towards a Raw vs SmackDown storyline, as even Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis were talking about the lack of a brand split on their respective show. However, this has been outright ignored in the recent weeks, and it seems unlikely that this is going to merge into a storyline. Fans are theorizing that WWE will be doing a new draft before the launch of Raw on Netflix. They're advertising numerous SmackDown names for Raw on Netflix, and this obviously once again defeats the entire purpose of a brand split. If this occurs, it's possible that the SmackDown brand is left without a number of top stars. However, with the rumors that SmackDown will be transitioning into a 3-hour product, this would be a risky move to take, and this may explain why WWE are looking to end or at least relax the modern day brand split. What do you make of WWE relaxing the brand split? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, bad news for Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill was seemingly written off TV this week on SmackDown as she was brutally attacked in the parking lot by a mystery assailant. And now WWE have issued a subsequent statement on Cargill, and it looks like she will be out of action for an undisclosed amount of time. After suffering a mysterious attack on SmackDown, WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Jade Cargill has been diagnosed with numerous injuries, including deep lumbar paraspinal muscle contusions, a bruised kidney, a sprained MCL in her right knee, a tibia plateau bone bruise of her right knee, and facial lacerations. Now, there is no timetable for a return at this time. Make sure to follow all WWE social media platforms as the story develops. Now, this obviously sounds kayfabe, but in yet another plot development, it transpires that Cargill's injury is somewhat legitimate, as Fightful Select is reporting that the storyline is to cover for her real-life injury. More details on Cargill's status will likely be available in the coming days, but as for now, all we can do is wish one half of the current Women's Tag Team Champions a very speedy recovery. Now, if you want to know who will replace her during the War Games match, check out our previous news video on that. Next up, Kevin Owens praised Backstage. Quite rightly, this week's edition of SmackDown received widespread praise from fans, and one of the highlights was a promo between Kevin Owens and WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. The promo segment had the right level of intensity and realism to push the feud to the next level, and it's now been reported by Fightful Select that Owens received praise backstage for his contributions to the segment. Owens was indeed outstanding in the segment, and it's also worth noting that Fightful Select is reporting that SmackDown GM Nick Aldis produced the segment, so Aldis deserves some praise for his involvement. It looks like Owens vs Rhodes Part 2 will take place at Saturday night's main event in December. Whilst it does seem strange not to include the match on the Survivor Series War Games card next weekend, there is a potential concern that this could be lost in the shuffle with 2 blockbuster War Games matches set for the show. Next up, Goldberg's son wants to wrestle. Could the next generation of the Goldberg family be about to set foot in a wrestling ring? Well, during an interview with Sportskeeda, Goldberg's son Gage revealed that wrestling would be a cool avenue to explore, but for right now, he's focused on football. I mean, yes and no for sure, because wrestling would be cool, being amped up and everything and having the adrenaline, but then I also know my place right now is with football, so I'm gonna live this out and see where that takes me. If it doesn't work out, could be wrestling, don't know, it's a backup plan. Gage has made numerous WWE appearances over the years, and he was even manhandled by Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam in 2021. Next up, a wrestling veteran wants to win the world title. AEW star Dustin Rhodes has had a Hall of Fame-worthy career, and whilst the artist formerly known as Goldust doesn't seem to have plans to retire in the immediate future, he has revealed one last goal that he wants to obtain before he hangs up his boots. Speaking to WFAA, the former Intercontinental Champion revealed that before he retires, he wants to become World Champion. There's one thing that every wrestler, if they don't want this when they get into the business, they don't belong on the business, and that's to become World Heavyweight Champion. That is the one thing that is missing. I won many titles from both companies and all kinds of companies across the world, but winning the World Heavyweight title puts a feather in your cap. I'm 55. Is it too late? I don't think so. I have 2 belts right now, Dustin 2 belts. Here I am, the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles and the World's 6-Man Tag Team titles. It happened this year at 55 and I'm just like, wow, the sky's the limit. Now as things stand, Dustin Rhodes remains under AEW contract, so it's unclear if AEW and Tony Khan have had any interest in making Rhodes a main eventer and subsequently a world champion. With that being said, one option that could be interesting is the idea of Rhodes going for the Ring of Honor World title. This will be a unique story and may lead to a surge of interest in the Ring of Honor product. Next up, a WWE star requires stitches. The closing brawl on SmackDown this week led to a member of the WWE roster requiring stitches. Tama Tonga required stitches following the brawl, and the WWE's digital channels posted videos and photos of the ordeal. In typical Tama Tonga fashion, he decided to deliver his trademark mannerisms, and it looked like he'd just be fine ahead of Survivor Series War Games next weekend. Next up, a released WWE name wins gold. That's great news for former WWE star Baron Corbin, as yesterday the former Mr. Money in the Bank took part in a jiu-jitsu tournament in Tampa, and Corbin came away with the gold medal. Congratulations to Corbin on his major win. Next up, a WWE star makes an appearance at a WXW show. Ludwig Kaiser made a surprise appearance at WXW Brooklyn Rules yesterday. Kaiser last wrestled for the promotion back in 2019 and received a hero's welcome upon making his entrance. It's awesome to see the WWE allowing their talent to make appearances of this nature, and this is without a doubt one of the key benefits for talent when it comes to Triple H taking over. Next up, Tony Khan shoots on WWE ID. It was only a matter of time before Tony Khan was asked to comment on the new WWE ID program. As expected, the topic was raised during the post-show press conference for Full Gear, and according to Khan, it's going to affect the independent scene. It's interesting. I don't really know how it's going to work. I understand there's some kind of first right or refusal aspect of it. We haven't come up where it's been a conflict yet. I do think it's going to affect the independent scene in some ways. We've had a really great experience here over the years bringing in young wrestlers. Through the pandemic, the best place for independent wrestlers to work was at AEW and on AEW Dark and Elevation. Khan has already been urged by Dustin Rhodes for AEW to create their own ID program, and it's not exactly the worst idea in the world, as top wrestling companies are always going to need new talent. And finally, the Hardy Boyz are free agents. Now, our final story today takes a look at some interesting news relating to the iconic tag team, the Hardy Boyz. Matt and Jeff Hardy are enjoying another run in TNA, but the surprising thing about their run is that the two are working without contracts. This is what Sean Rossap from Fightful Select had to say on the matter. They're technically free agents working without a contract, Sapp explained. TNA is just very comfortable with them and knows they'll do things the right way, so there's no concern of them taking the titles elsewhere. With WWE and TNA having a healthy and active working relationship, this certainly opens the door for the Hardy Boyz to make future WWE appearances and potentially work with top teams in the WWE such as the Motor City Machine Guns and the Usos. But there you have it folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.